Hi everybody, my name is Ian, and welcome to the 2022 50 Game Challenge. This is a very big project that I am undertaking, and let's be honest, biting off way more than I could possibly chew. This is a challenge I came up with basically to celebrate my 30th year on this planet. Turning 30 years old in 2022, and I figured what better way to celebrate than ruining any aspect I possibly could have had of a social life. But there was none, so that's fine. So in turning 30 this year, I have adapted the plan of a lifetime to play and beat 50 video games. Why? Well, here's why. Because I love games. Unfortunately, I don't play them. And I've noticed as I get older, I play less and less of them. So in order to completely undo all of that wasted time and potential, I'm going to ruin my 30th year and play nothing but video games every single day, basically. So here's how it's going to work. I have essentially chosen 50 games. That's not really true. I've chosen 47. I'm going to leave 3 spots open. Those 3 are for, maybe 2022 games that come out that I want to play, or something else that pops up that I haven't thought of yet. I'll leave those open for a later date. But of the 47 that I have picked, I will say it's a handful of some that I've played in the past but never beaten. Some I've beaten in the past and I'm just going to be replaying, and most of them are games I have never even touched yet somehow own, much like the gigantic backlog that I will never unfortunately get to. But this will be a good way to put a big old dent right in that fat head. Now let's talk about how this works. These are not going to be review videos that I'm putting up. These are going to be just kind of general thoughts after beating each game. So hopefully they're not very long. This one's going to be a little bit longer just because of this stupid explanation. But hopefully going forward, the rest will be pretty short, just a few minutes, kind of collecting my thoughts on the games as a whole. So I'll just slap a spoiler warning here. I'm not going to go into like synopsis of each game, but I will talk about spoilers, if it is something I want to discuss. These are mainly just videos to catalog my progress so I can look back on this and wallow in self-pity. This year is going to be a jam-packed year. I am not only doing this stupid challenge, but I'm also doing a podcast called Intolerable and Insufferable. The complete first season is available right now on this very YouTube channel. If you hate YouTube, somehow you're watching this, you can go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, check it out. It's a very funny movie review podcast. It takes you on a wild ride. It's really interesting. I highly recommend it if you like this kind of shit. On top of that, first season from earlier last year, this year, on top of all this other stupid shit I'm doing, I'm also going to be doing a second season of the show. It premieres January 28th and runs every Friday. You can check out new episodes. And at the end of the season, I'll put up a full compilation on this YouTube channel. Now, there's enough setup there. I think we're good to go. Let's kick things off with a very first game complete, baby. Okay, so game number 1 in the books, in less than 24 hours into the year, Spyro the Dragon on the PlayStation 1. This is by far my favorite game of all time. I would fight myself if I could go back in 1998 and tell myself that, because my young self playing this game on the PS1 absolutely hated it. I was obsessed with Spyro 2 and 3 when they came out, but I never really liked the first game that much. I think I just didn't like how primitive it was in comparison to the second and third games. But look, I gotta be honest with you, 30 years old, I can look back on this game and say, I absolutely love it, man. I mean, it starts off very goofy. It's very over the top, very easy bosses, very ridiculous, setup. But as the game goes on, it takes you into a much more serious, sinister tone, especially for 1998, man. I mean, like, for PS1, this is I really feel like they were killing it with the atmosphere without ever having to tell you. I mean, there's such little story that's actually explained. It's all just perceived from the worlds you're in, and as you go on, it gets darker and darker, and the villains become more and more scary and less goofy. It's not a hard game. I mean, there's definitely parts that are obnoxious, but like playing through it again, I'm just like, man, I can't get enough of this game. I don't think there's ever going to be a game that can top this for me, because I mean, I've spent the last 12 years playing this game almost every year, at least once a year. I try to fit in time for the other two, but like for some reason, this game is so easy for me to slip back into. I don't know. I can't get enough of it. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the music, which Stuart Copeland absolutely, like, the music in this game is unbelievable. For the longest time, I felt like the Spyro trilogy had the best video game music ever. In the universe would agree with me probably, but like I don't know what it is. I absolutely love the music in these games. And there is another game that I have played relatively recently that I think surpasses the soundtrack to these games. And it is on my list for this year. So we'll get to it when we get to it. But for now, the music in this game is incredible. The atmosphere is amazing. The gameplay is fun. It really expects a lot from you as a video game player. It does not hold your hand, where I think Spyro 2 and 3 are a little more friendly in that regard. This one is much more of a a pain in the ass. I mean, it really makes you work. And I think it's what I didn't like about it when I was a kid. I really did not like the frustration that I got. But like, man, as an adult, I can look back on it and just like, it's just so rewarding to, push through all the platforming and things it expects from you, unrelenting. And I don't know, this game clicks with me. It really does. I will say in my playthrough of it, I actually did play on original hardware. Normally when I play Spyro nowadays, I either play it on the PlayStation 3 with the PS1 Classic digital download, or on my Vita, the same thing. But actually for this time, I actually played it on the PS1 straight up. Earlier last year, I bought the games on disc. I don't know what happened to the original ones I had as a kid, but I finally rebought them to have them. And I actually had 2 game crashes. Unfortunately, the music just like cut out at one point, and when I went to go save a dragon, it just we wouldn't come out, and the game crashed. And then it happened again a little while later. So that sucked, because it's a 1998 PS1 game. There's no autosave, so if you don't constantly save, you're screwed if that happens. So I did have to do a lot of stuff twice, unfortunately, but that's just, the way of the beast, I guess. But overall, I absolutely love this game. I'll never not love it, other than when I was a kid. And I couldn't do this marathon without starting with my favorite game ever. And now that that's out of the way, now that shit is out of the way, we can look forward to the other 49 games to be played this year. So thank you guys for listening. Check out my podcast if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next of the 50 games. See you then. Bitch.